Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 10275 Southwest Winter Lane here in Beaverton. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the house. So right now we're at the front of the home here. We're just barely to the right of the garage doors. Got a 4-inch cast iron clean out here as our point of access. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's currently running. We're going to zero out here at the base of the clean out. Off we go. Alright, swapping over to 4-inch. Looks like transite concrete. I think we have some level of standing water right at the start of the line there. I keep in mind I have a bathtub running full bore right now, which can exaggerate a fairly minor belly into what looks pretty significant. So we'll see how that looks once the line's drained out. Yeah, definitely transite. And I may have to do some level of reviewing of this video at home. I've got 2 umbrellas shading the tablet right now. There's just so much sun reflecting off the house into my face. It's hard to get your eyes to adjust, mostly to fine detail type stuff. Big obvious things are still visible, so just be aware of that. They're possible I may mention something on the report. It's hard to see right now. Quite a clean sewer line, very little buildup. Not sure what's going on here. I think we're at the main right now. The line just made a turn. It's very indicative of how a line attaches to a main lateral at the end of the line, but we'll see here. Yeah, I have to let the line drain out here for a second to see what's giving my camera trouble. Alrighty, so not at the main yet here. That turn was hard to see there. The line's doing a pretty good zigzag across the property. So where we are right now is right in the middle of the sidewalk. Oh, transitioning here to standard concrete. I cannot tell right now what the heck that is in the flow line. May very well be some kind of root. Could be gasket material. That's something there I'll have to probably take a better look at home in better lighting. But the joint does look like it's got some kind of issue going on with it there. Alright, we're going to fire the water back up here and then see if we can get all the way to the main. What the line does, it crosses from basically the front right corner of the garage all the way to the far right side of the property. So it gets in kind of that little gravel driveway area there, and then right now we're underneath the sidewalk, right in the middle of it, making a turn to straighten out, and then we'll shoot off into the road here. The camera right now is upside down, just so you know. You're wondering why the water's overhead like that. We are in some standing water, it looks like, too. In fact, we just popped out of it there, finally. And going back into some more. Now, one of the differences between standard aggregate, right now we're in regular aggregate concrete, versus transite. Transite I generally prefer to standard aggregate. It's got far fewer pipe joints for one thing, about every 10 feet versus every 3 in standard concrete. Transite, though, generally speaking, has rubber fern coats at the pipe joints rather than pipe grout. As regular concrete ages, that grout wears out just like your concrete driveway does, for instance, and allows those joints to slowly but surely become exposed to the ground over time. Once they open up to the ground, the joints can start causing hydro erosion. They can start sucking dirt into the sewer pipe. Sometimes water can escape too, causing a similar effect, but hydro erosion from pulling the dirt around the pipe into the sewer line is often what causes progressive settling in these old lines. So we'll see how it looks here once it drains out. We're at the main now at 83 feet. The other nice thing about Transite, it's also called asbestos concrete. It has asbestos fibers rather than aggregate rock in the mix. So as it ages, it remains smooth. It doesn't become super rough over time. They all have their pluses and minuses. Anyway, we're going to go locate really quick here, see where we're at, and let the line drain out. Alrighty, so the line in this circumstance, kind of a unique setup. The main lateral, at least the point this line terminates at the main, is actually under the kind of grass curb strip, which is normally grass anyway. If you go to the other side of the street, it's right between the street curb and the sidewalk on the opposite side of the road. And if you look out to the intersection just down the street here, where Winter Court intersects in, you'll see the manhole lines up with the grass curb strip area. So crosses the complete full width of the roadway and pops out the other side by a couple feet. I'm getting around 6 foot 4 inches deep there just for reference. I did put a marking down. Yeah, so there is some level of standing water in the line. Again, this is the part of the line I'm going to do a little bit of reviewing on at home. The standing water we're looking at there is quite minor. There may have very well been some level of debris up ahead of the camera that was kind of damming the pipe up. Doesn't take much to accomplish something like that, but there is obviously some standing water in the line here. It's quite minor as it sits. And you got maybe a 1/16 of an inch of water there. But that is often, in concrete pipe, in plastic pipe, that often means something different. It's usually due to poorly compacted soil. So the thing I'm going to watch for when I review the video at home is the pipe joints. That's the harder thing to see right now. Often what causes that kind of that level of settling right there is due to the joints wearing out over time. It's a slow but sure process, but it often leads to progressive settling. But right here, it's possible some debris got knocked loose when I first went through here, and we were pushing a big hunk of junk up in front of us, creating the illusion of a higher level of standing water. But there is standing water throughout that entire section there nonetheless. Anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a couple markings down basically at the start and end of the concrete, the standard aggregate concrete anyway. And then if any digging should be done, for instance, one of the things to watch for, if I start seeing that the pipe joints are all showing a level of moisture at them, like they're exposed to the ground, allowing groundwater to seep in, it's that scenario where I'm going to recommend repairs on it. Although the standing water may be minor right now. Again, I'm not positive that's what's caused that yet, but and we still have a little bit of water trickling to the line right now. Bathtub or something maybe draining slower, maybe a toilet flapper that's not shutting all the way off. But I may recommend some repairs on that. Being that the standing water is minor enough right now, and I will also do the same looking over of the Transite pipe here. You know, when standing water is at a pretty minor level, it would be worth looking into something. Should I recommend repairs like an epoxy liner? The thickness of the liner will often displace the water that's there. Right now it's quite minimal. Other things you can look into would be like pipe bursting, where you can often punch a hole at each end of the repair and the rest can be done trenchlessly under the roadway. So either of which aren't necessarily fantastic at correcting slope and grade, but right now when the standing water is minor, if you go and put something as smooth as glass inside there with that level of standing water, it has almost no bearing on functionality at all. once you have a nice smooth pipe inside there. I don't want to see anyone trenching up the road, you know, to go and correct a 1/16 of an inch of water or something of that nature, 32nd of an inch. But if those joints are exposed to the ground, it's one of those things that becomes a progressive snare. The other concern there is that transition joint. Right, it's hard to tell right now what's going on there. There's some kind of, I can't tell if it's an object with the sun glare I've got. Almost has the appearance of a piece of wood. It could be a root intrusion that's punched through the joint. So that spot there, I'm likely to recommend repairs on. One, it's a spot where debris can get caught. There's an obstruction there. It's hard to get the camera to go past it. So anyway, pending some level of review here, I did put some markings down there to locate the regular concrete pipe that starts the middle of the sidewalk over near the front right corner of the property. You'll see some green paint there, 5 foot 5 inches deep. By the time you hit the main, you're around 6.5 feet deep, and there's a marking on the other side of the road there. Anyway, pending review. Watch the report on this one. It's got bad lighting conditions here to see fine detail right now.